Greetings, everyone. It is an honor to be here with you. 2 transmissions today. I am AuroRa. I am the founder of A.U.R.A Hypnosis Healing, Past Life Regression, Entity Removal Technique, as well as Raw Reiki, and the founder of Quantum Galactic Akashic. To get more information about this, you can go to my website, risingphoenixaurora.com. We certify in all these modalities, specifically the A.U.R.A Hypnosis and the Raw Reiki, through online workshops live every couple months and through the retreats. We have our next one is in Manchester, August 14, live in person as well. Special, beautiful bonus, this Manchester retreat, Todd Divini will be there, my beautiful colleague, the author to Expansion for Ascending Consciousness. He will be there, and it was fun. He was there with us in Sedona, and he was able to teach us the scientific point of view on how our sacred teachings work and how they work through the quantum world. I am the author to Galactic Soul History of the Universe, which is the journey of our universe told through past life regression through international clients. You can find that under Amazon, under ebook and paperback. You can find that there under Amazon. Yes, beautiful, in English and in Spanish. Let's get started. A couple announcements. The Isis Priestess course, I want to say, in honor to the Twin Flame Union, which is our title here, 222 Twin Flame Sacred Divine Union. From here on, if your spouse, only your spouse, not your friend, your spouse wants to join, they can join for the same price on Patreon. So both of you for the one price. Love to see you guys there. So your spouses. Also for retreats, if they want to join us to learn how to heal themselves and assist healing their families or the collective through workshops or retreats only, teaching A.U.R.A, hypnosis, and Raw Reiki, healing, entity removal. Since we're in this inverted world, we need to learn how to counter, how to shield, how to use our love to filter out these inversions. So these sacred teachings teach you that, and you get if you sign up and then your spouse signs up with you at the same time, 22% off. The prices are already there reflecting on my website. Okay, beautiful. Let's get started. More information, risingphoenixaurora.com, and Patreon, Rising Phoenix Mystery School. Thank you, everyone. This one brings such joy to me. So we had our beautiful Yeshua and Mary Magdalene talk a few minutes ago, which set us up beautifully, gloriously for what's to come now. I get so excited. There's nothing much more that I love to do but to find twin flames and assist them with my love and give them hints to find love within themselves. I do that all the time, everywhere I go. Everywhere, no matter what I'm doing it. All right, here we go. Now, some part of what Yeshua spoke of the gridding of Earth. So this is a portal, time and space that we all have been waiting for in the entire universe. I've been waiting to talk about this since last year. We talked about it briefly through the New Year's 2022, when we talked about the 222 and then the other videos that we made of the 222 and the relationships. Get ready for this one. So I am so excited to be here with you in communicating what has come forth on Earth and has activated upon Earth. Okay, so before I go into that, let me explain what is a twin flame union. And what does twin flames mean? There is much false information about this because they don't want twin flames to get together because they're unstoppable at that point. They're invincible together. So there is much falseness on this, okay? And there's a lot of kind of like desperateness, savior, like, oh, my twin flame, like, oh, people just really like becoming unbalanced over it. Okay, so this video is all about how to find balance and understand that there are twin flame unions and really erase anything that you have heard. Erase it. Let's start blank here and let's understand what really are twin flame unions, okay? Beautiful. Yay! Okay, let's get started. All right. Now, so the beginning of creation we spoke about in Yeshua and how he was created from Divine Mother Sophia, Source Father Krysto. Then there was the twin flame union of Divine Father 4, Archangel 4, and the daughter of the flame, which is the Phoenix. Now, and then how they created Yeshua. All right, so let's start from there. Okay. Now, so before this began, we have spoken in prior channelings how Sophia created from inside of her Krysto, and she birthed them out from within her womb because she carries the womb. Source is a plasmic, etheric womb where there's this infinite source energy that you can just keep birthing out. It's like a womb. Source is like a womb that is on constant birthing, like infinite babies. So they're showing it to me. Babies, boop, 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 popping out wherever they want to go and experience into a star, which is a galactic soul group. I love talking about creation and excitement. It excites me. Oh, so exciting. Okay. And then so going through, and then they go through and they birth out into soul groups or planetary spheres wherever they want to go. Okay, we understand that. So in order for them to come to be, in order for them to split and birth out into universes, specifically our universe, first came out the daughter of the flame out of source. And from there, same thing, replicating from her womb space as she carries the womb, she birthed out Divine Father from inside of her. When this happened, so let's talk about twin flame. So they were the first twin flame union, splitting out from source, becoming the individualism, but also still the unity, right? Because we're all individual, but we're also unity within ourselves. Okay, so let's talk about, in a scientific point of view, how this works. Now, the way that they explain is that a soul is a flame. So if you can envision a flame in front of you now, this flame is similar like the flame that you would watch in your fireplace or your fire pit or your candle. It's reminding us of, when we watch a candle lit, it's reminding us of the very first creation, the beginning of creation, which is a flame. This flame, and that's why it's called twin flames. Now this flame, in the oversoul perspective, not the higher self perspective, the oversoul perspective we're speaking of, it oscillates, as Todd Divini would explain it, but it oscillates and it expands and it vibrates. As it vibrates, this flame becomes big enough to be able to individualize itself, but still be one within itself. So that's where the twin flame splitting happens. This flame splits into two. Okay. Now, as an oversoul, so we'll use Divine Father 4, just Michael, and so on, and the daughter of the flame. We'll use them as an example. And they split, but they're still always energetically connected to one another. So they still have, when I see twin flames, I see umbilical cords connected from womb to womb, because the divine masculine still carries womb energy, because we have both. Even when we split, the divine masculine, when it splits, let's just say Michael carries feminine within him as well, so he still energetically carries the feminine in him. The reason why he always carries it is because they still will always have that umbilical cord connecting to one another, that umbilical cord, which means that they're twin flames. Okay, so that's how you can tell if people are twin flames. They have a golden umbilical cord to one another's, where the umbilical cord is at. Okay, It can also come out of the hearts too, and it's crystalline, it's plasmic, it's beautiful, it's golden and shining and glorious and luminescent, glowing. Okay. All right. So they become individual. However, to incarnate into different perspectives in planetary spheres, they are still split, but they're birthed into, say, let's use Earth as an example. They are birthed into different bodies, into individual bodies, and then they go through the journey of finding each other. We'll go through that process in a minute. Okay, so we understand from a perspective. So what happens is that what one flame became two, in other words, they're very much the opposite of one another. They complement one another. So what perhaps the more female version, divine female version is, there's so many different ways that I could explain this, because everybody's different. It's hard to explain this, but okay, let's just say the divine feminine is very fierce and strong. Let's just say that. And then the divine masculine, but so can the masculine, but divine masculine is very protective and but I think they both embody this. I don't know how to explain this, but no, okay. So if you were to separate pieces, so okay, say you put into a whole flame. This is a whole flame, and this entire flame, it has all qualities of its collective embodiment. But then it's like, once it separates, this portion here, the divine feminine perhaps, might be stronger in different parts. When they were together, she'll take on some of the more important parts of her, that is for her, and then he'll take on some of the most important parts for him. So they're very different. They could be counter again to one another because they have split and are embodying different parts of the union of the flame. You understand? Okay. So I feel like I did a good job explaining that. Okay. Now, within the cosmos, we're infinitely connected, twin flame unions, right? There's no way to separate a twin flame union within the cosmos of the oversouls. Of course not. It is when the soul descends, and then it condenses itself down into the lower dimensions of the planetary spheres that it becomes more challenging, you can say, because especially in the third dimension where we're at, as we know, it is hard to be here because we're farthest away from source. So it's harder for us to hear sometimes and listen. And instead, sometimes we might pick up, if we're on a lower vibration, we'll pick up on the inverted world versus the organic. Okay. All right. So we understand that. All right. Okay. So everyone has a twin flame union. Everyone. If you are tapping into the oversoul perspective of who you are, the oversoul are the creators of creation, the elders of creation. They could be seen as the archangels. They are the archangels of creation. Those are the oversouls. Then the oversouls, the archangels, then birth out higher selves, an infinity of higher selves, which could be other forms of ascended masters, deities. It's infinite. The potentials are infinite. And even then, when they birth out into higher self perspective, they still birth out in twos. This is why we've been waiting for this year. Because it is a two. It represents the sacred union within self, which we've been talking about that, but this video is all about sacred union with twin flames. So, okay. Now, why is this so important, especially in the lower dimensions? The reason why it is infinitely important for you to find your twin flame union is because For example, in a scientific manner through the quantum world, your body could only hold up as much energetic space within yourself to accomplish your mission. But once the other half of you comes forth and comes into the sacred union, you are still the individual flames, but now more so you've become that whole flame at the oversoul perspective. So think about that. So then at that point, you become a bridge of the highest potentials that you can harness and bridge into earth at the oversoul perspective, or the higher self perspective as well, because higher self has, again, twin flames. So the way that this universe is set up, there is the beautiful unity of the feminine and the masculine. That is the way creation was. That is all we know. Okay. Now, this is why also they plague it with trying to confuse people, that they're neither, which that can happen sometimes if you were, there are some alien races, but that's not in a higher soul, oversoul. Those are incarnations. So Earth is an incarnation. If you incarnate in Pleiadian, that's an incarnation. If you incarnate into the Centaurian galaxy, that's an incarnation. Those are not higher selves, and those are not oversouls. Do you understand? Therefore, in each incarnation, you can choose to be birthed forth with your twin flame, depending on what galaxy you're in, or what part of our 88 constellations or galaxy that you are in. So you can choose to live a life where you don't incarnate with your twin flame union in a not in physical form, because in a energetic form, because beyond Earth there's not physical, right? So if you incarnate into different planetary spheres that are not physical, because beyond Earth they're not physical, only here they're physical, which we talked about in the previous video, how we let go of that chrysalis and we expand and go into the infinite energetic body that we are. Okay. So you go into these different planetary spheres. Now you can choose to not have your twin flame and just, go on your journey on your own, but you will always be energetically connected to your twin flame through the oversoul perspective. Always. There's nothing that can sever that. Okay. All right. Or you can choose to incarnate with your twin flame, and they'd be perhaps same kind of race. The infinities of races that we talk about, they could be the counter to that. Or, like I said, some aliens races have both inside of them, so they'd be both in one body. Okay. So it's important that we honor that both the masculine from a right side of the body, the left side of the body, the feminine, the light, the darkness, or more like the yin and the yang within us, and how we have both of these. Okay. Well, what happens is, if, say, an earthy incarnation, and you're here, and maybe you have a strong mission. Maybe you're meant to talk in front of many people, thousands of people, right? Or hundreds of people, or maybe a group of 20, and you're a teacher, like the students, whatever form. It is harder for you to anchor in the sufficient and a love light that you normally would if you don't have your twin flame union. So in a scientific point of view, Todd Davini, you can check out his video. I'll add the link below. But he talks about, I think it was like 2 years ago. I'll look for it. But he talks about the energetic consistency of twin flames, okay, and how the difference are, okay, in a scientific point of view. So I'll be merging both today. Okay. So let's say you're speaking in front of a group, no matter what size, whether it's thousands or 20. Okay. And it takes a lot of energy actually to hold up the space for the amount of group that's in front of you, no matter how much amount there is, a vast amount of space. If you are also without your twin flame sacred union, it will be harder for you to hold in that love light that infinite frequency vibration of energy fields are inside of you if you're not with them. But if you're with them, you will be able to pull from one another like an infinity. That's what it is. A sacred twin flame union is like this. It's an infinity, and they're always connected. So if they're incarnated with you in a planetary sphere, no matter what planetary sphere it is, you're able to do much more energetically because you're whole at that point. You're one. You can be the collective of infinity that you are in the oversoul or higher self. Okay? You understand? But if you're individualized, if you're just by yourself and perhaps you have yet to either meet your twin flame, and we'll go over the relations of what twin flames are. You have perhaps maybe you did meet a twin flame and something went really wrong, or maybe you think that they're not here on earth. Yeah. Or maybe you think that they won't ever be. Okay. At that point, you will have to work etherically, energetically to connect to the oversoul twin flame of you. If you're not in sacred union. Okay. You have to keep connecting to them in a infinity point of view, symbol, and asking for their aid to assist you to be balanced within earth, to be charged enough to not be perhaps as stretched out, thinned out. Okay, I feel like we're doing really good explaining this. All right. Okay. Now, so there's many confusions as far as twin flames. Now, we already explained how they are consisted of, okay? So there's no confusion there anymore. Now, but say you're on Earth and sometimes you'll come across several different, what you think are twin flames. So all partners prior to your twin flame union have been important. They could have been soulmates. They've also could have been other versions of twin flames of your future initial full twin flame sacred union. So say you were with someone and it was dynamic, it was beautiful, but something went really wrong, and maybe happens often. The mother-in-law was hateful, or the sister-in-law was hateful, or the friends that, pulled that person into let's go drinking and clubbing or whatever, distracted them, right? And there was much karma going back and forth between you and them. But you knew that you were twin flame unions, but something is going wrong here. Not wrong, but something's going not as beautiful as I thought it would be. So that is where, it gets tricky on Earth, because the people around you, if they see a twin flame union, their role, according to them, and their entities specifically, and the archons, especially the archons, don't want both of these unifications of these flames together, because together they merge and they emanate 100-fold, perhaps, than what one flame would emanate love light. Together, they come in and they expand, and it's like a heartbeat, and it ripples throughout Earth. It goes whoom, 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 like a womb, like creation. It ripples and it ripples all day long. They are like a song that keeps singing of love light. That is what a twin flame union does for Earth. Do the archons and negative entities want you to do that? No, they don't. So they will create obstacles from the people you have around you to try to separate you. And sometimes they're successful at it. That's one version. Then there's another version where perhaps you were just meant to meet that twin flame, and maybe they're not the full twin flame that you would come into sacred union, but you're meant to just activate one another. The other thing is perhaps you had karma. So what happens, especially on Earth, is because all these twin flame unions have been separated throughout Earth. Often they haven't been able to find each other, or if they did, they were separated through wars and programming. They weren't able to be an infinite divine union. because of the programming of the inverted world. So all those lives that you carry, as many times as you kept birthing, all those lives will become an accumulation of what you weren't able to balance. It adds up and adds up and it becomes bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So the divine purpose to some of these twin flame unions that you might meet before your initial twin flame sacred union, the final one, is to karmically balance out every single one of those lives that you couldn't balance out and you couldn't end up together. That's one way that you can see multiple twin flames. Another way is you stay with the person for a very long time, decades, and you work really hard to wake up one another. But every time you kiss and every time you look at each other, every time you make sacred love, you regain memory and you balance out each karma. Every time you choose to love one another, to be together, you balance out that karma. So you could do it in one relationship too. Okay. And what gets me a lot is that I often see people, they're in twin flame unions, but because of all this karma that they have carried and they're not allowing themselves to release the karma, to balance it out, maybe they're treating each other mean, maybe they're treating the other person in a bully way, in a narcissistic way. Maybe they're just not honoring each other's differences, because remember what we explained, how they're two flames separated and they're two flames in union, but they're two completely different flames with different, say, personalities, you can say. And if one twin flame, they're together and they're not honoring it, and that's really sad to see, because you have the twin flame union. But why haven't you worked with your relationship? Why haven't you loved one another? Why haven't you respected one another? Why? Because you're distracted by the distractions of keeping each other apart. It's part of the inverted game. Again, yes. So it's important that you understand that if you are in a twin flame union, that you love each other, respect and honor one another, each other's differences. And instead of beating up on one another in whatever form, that you support and you lift one another, you live together. That's extremely important, because then the more that you support and lift one another and you choose each other always, no matter what, you don't choose the false families that you born into, you don't choose the girlfriends or boyfriends grouping that are in the inverted world, you choose one another. And at that point, you both begin to activate in ways that are infinite. And this has begun. This has begun. It begun on the 222 portal, and it completely crystallized into Earth in April. I have been watching the Earth through a bird's eye view, through a, what is the fancy word that people call it? I forget what the fancy word people call it, but I've been watching the Earth. Everyone can do this. I've been watching them, and I've been watching. And I've actually met a few of people that have been coming to me. Couples. I've been watching them get together. Maybe they've been alone for decades. But it began because in April sometime, the planets aligned. There was 4 specific planets that aligned. You can look into that. And right around that time frame, Divine Father activated on Earth. See, Divine Mother has already been activated because she is the mother. She is mother. She is the foundation of Earth. She is Earth. That's why we call her, right? But Divine Father was asleep. And that's why this year is the rise of the Divine Masculine when we channeled Archangel Michael. Because we are waiting for Divine Father to awaken. There are many Divine Father, Mother, fractalization, Sophia, Krysto, Daughter of the Flame, Archangel Michael's. So they are coming into union, and it's already begun and it's already happened. It's too late. They can't do anything about it. When they came into sacred unions, because they're the first creators of creation, they're father and mother of creation. And that happened on Earth in April. Then it rippled throughout Earth, and it coded into the very coding of the pyramids that we're speaking of that Yeshua was talking about. So it is beautiful. It brings me to tears because I've been watching people decades trying to find their twin flame, and now they have. And now they're in union. Oh my God, so exciting. Okay. So, okay, envision this. So this has spread throughout Earth, and we have all these divine father, mother fractalizations. We're all essences of father, and mother source, right? And they're coming into union. They're learning to honor each other. They're having lots of sacred sex, awakening Earth and activating it. Think about what that's doing for birthing organic timelines. It's actually birthing the organic timelines. Okay, let me think if there's anything else I want to add to that. I think we've done a really good job explaining. So let me see if there are any questions, which questions we would like to answer. Hope you all are really enjoying these 2 videos back to back. Okay. All right. So the first, let me read the questions here. Okay, so the first question I have here is someone asking, okay, they're asking, can you explain if your twin is a galactic in the cosmos of higher realms? He is not incarnated, nor will he be on Earth, but instead coming awake with inside your same vessel. Good. So we explained a bit of that already. Okay. So that question actually pretty much explains itself. But you can find a sacred union within yourself if you truly start connecting and embodying. And it is as if you'd be walking. So you hear and say your twin flame is not incarnated yet, perhaps they'd be walking right here beside you, energetically crystalline. So even though you're physically here, the physical body is an illusion, right? So without the physical body, you're this beautiful infinite plasmic field of soul. So envision and sense and feel and know that they are right here beside you. So you can still have that sacred twin flame union with you and be as strong if they are right beside you energetically, and you're harnessing, you're bridging them in all day long, every day with you. You can set intentions, do shielding, meditation, all of that. Okay. Next question. Is it possible that our twin flame may have done things with their free will that go against our beliefs, say regarding the V or other ways of living, say the consumption of daily marijuana, and diminish the stresses of being human on Earth at this time? Are they truly our twin flames? Okay, so what I can tell you is that there's typically, when there's a twin flame union, one of them has chosen to awaken first before the other one. And it's up to that one person's job, the one that has been more awakened, who has been able to see through the illusions. It's up to their job, because they agreed to be awakened first, for you to wake up the second one. But what has happened through the programming and the fact that you never stood in your power, you never spoke up, you hid that you were spiritually awakened. I have people that I meet, that hide that they're spiritually awakened, and they hide everything from the husband. They can't even watch a video in front of the wife, you know? So then why are you not waking them up? You agreed that you were going to wake them up. That was your role. You were supposed to sacredly love them infinitely to wake them up. Every time you have sacred sex, you activate and wake them up. How Yeshua and Mary Magdalene, he wasn't able to do all that he did till they came into a union through sacred sex. Actually, they remembered and activated one another. So, have you been living truth to yourself? Or have you been keeping these things from them because you don't want to offend them, and you don't want to, or you feel like maybe you're overstepping their boundaries, but you can still plant little seeds by seeds. But there's so many perspectives to this because everyone's in a different type of relationship, right? So that's one way. But then the other way is, see, up until the 1220, when the V thing came in, people were supposed to work within their spouses so that they wouldn't fall in line with getting it. But many people didn't do that. They were lost within their own traumas, not healing themselves. So then what is occurring is what you created. Okay? But what I can explain though is that, so to help this understand in a higher perspective point of view, is that because those who didn't get the V have chosen the organic path, and those who did get it have chosen the inverted. So it is a chance. It's like their last chance for them. So those who got the V, last chance for them to, because in the bifurcation, trifurcation, they chose to be inverted. So if they got the you know what, it is their last chance if they will choose to self-heal it from within themselves. And will you choose to help them self-heal it? But some of them are so lost and distorted, lost to the 3D world, that it seems also very impossible. All right. So that is the choice there. What I can tell you that if your other twin flame chose this and they don't wake up, and they don't, self-heal this within themselves and heal their DNA, all that we talk about. 2 last videos were about that. Then they will be stuck in a 3rd dimensional perspective, and there will be a separation, but never a full separation, where you will ascend out and they will be stuck in another level of school where they will still have to go through their own process of ascension. But you will be out and you will just wait for them, however long it takes, within, there is no time, but within time and space. And at that point, you can go back to your higher self and just wait for them there, or you can go live somewhere else in a planetary sphere. But that's the way the bifurcation of getting the V or not is occurring on Earth. So it's their last chance. Will they do it? And will you hold the love light to assist them? But don't make it also like hard on yourself. Don't put all that pressure on yourself. Don't, because then if you're making yourself all heavy to do that, if you're truly with your twin flame. But for the most, some of the people are not really with the twin flame. And the fact that they chose to, see, there's many different things to answer this. The fact that they chose to take the V, that means perhaps that they're not your twin flame. There's too many different ways to go, but I've given you hopefully enough to understand what we're explaining. Okay. Next question. Is it possible to have a twin flame in angel form that never lives on Earth with you? Yes, it is possible. But what I can tell you is that angels and ascended masters and starseeds all walk into vessels. They can't. They typically, maybe an essence or a fractal of them will be born into Earth through you. Maybe you're one of them, right? These essences and fractals. And then within your blueprint, your soul blueprint, you carry, okay, I was a Pleiadian, I was an Arcturian, I was in the Phoenix constellation, I was in the Andromedan constellation. So those are all memories and experiences carried in your blueprint. But in essence, we are all angels. But we've been programmed to not believe in angels or that they're negative. Okay. But we know that's false. Okay. So to understand that, yes. Okay. So, okay. To answer that question. Okay. So even though you might not have your angel twin flame with you for this question, it doesn't mean that they might not walk in or integrate into someone that perhaps that has been part of your life. Maybe they were a old high school sweetheart. It happens a lot, like the high school sweethearts, they loved each other, and then somehow the world split them up, and then 10, 20 years later, they find each other. And they're like, oh my God, we're twin flames. How could we? Wow, we can't live without each other. Okay. So at that point, they walked their own paths. As they walked their own paths, they karmically balanced out all that they could with relationships that were probably really toxic, narcissistic. They learned all these things so that by the time they come into sacred union again in the future, boom, there are now a matching vibration karmically, energetically to be together once more. So you never know what might happen. This is the year we bridge that in for the collective. It is coded into the pyramids of the blueprint of Earth. And if you choose to bring forth that unity of your twin flame, hold it, love it, believe it, but in a benevolent way, not in a way where you're freaking out and you're unbalanced because you have yet to find your twin flame union. Okay? So yeah, that's possible, but again, they could be different. They can come in eventually. If you are that significant of love, light, and organic energy fields of energy, physical, etheric, all that embodiment within you, you can attract and pull in that matching vibration. Because I remember when I was young and, I remember feeling this like call for a unity of a soul to be a matching heart of mine, a matching love of mine. So all, would want this, all want this. Of course you would want someone that loves you equally as the beautiful being that you are, someone who is a matching vibration, matching heart to you. Of course you would want that. And at that point, all those beauties that we talked about come forth for you in your life. So it is a calling that we all have, because in the oversoul perspectives, we are one with them. But here, we have to find each other again. So there's lots of work that goes in the background by your angelic teams, your guides, your higher self, to even get a twin flame union together, which is why I tell those of you who are in twin flame union, really start honoring them. See, the people that are in twin flame unions, they don't honor it. They take it for granted, and the people who are not in twin flame unions, all they want is a twin flame union. So honor it. Okay. All right. A couple more minutes and we're going to finish up for today. Is your twin flame union to show you what you need to heal or work on? Can a twin flame union not work out in the 3D, 4D due to stubbornness and disagreements? So it is meant to show you that, but mostly when you're working on all that you need to heal within yourself, it's karmically and it's energetically within you. So balancing that out energetically within you so that you can finally then ascend out. So they're all lessons. They're teaching you in infinities. Who better than your twin flame to teach you, because they're the opposite of you. So can a twin flame union not work out? Yes, they cannot work out. In the 3D, 4D due to stubbornness or disagreements, they can. If the other person is, most of the people who are very stubborn and don't want to understand that you're in sacred union, probably have a lot of entities in them, have, or they have a lot of people around them that pretend that they love them, but they don't actually. They actually don't mean infinite love, and they're like, having the people around you that don't actually mean love for your sacred union. It's like they're feeding this dark energy, dark magic into the person. Perhaps that's the lower vibration, the person that has yet to wake up. They keep feeding it into them through cord. So then at that point, it becomes very challenging and it becomes very hard. Maybe they're constantly breaking up. Maybe one of them is constantly trying to leave one another. It's sad. And then there's babies that they've had over and over every life. And these babies are watching them become compromised because they're being fed these negativities. Because that's how they get to you, is through the people around you, your inner circle. Okay. What happens? Let's see what's. Okay, what happens if one twin flame leaves Earth and in spirit realm and is in spirit realm, and the other is left on Earth? Does union still occur? Yes, absolutely. So if they left and they're just waiting for you, and they're actually will become your guardian. And especially if you met them physically, you've already had that twin flame union, so you've already been activated, and you carry them within you, yeah. So it's beautiful. And they'll be your supporter, your guardian, to ensure you ascend out if you keep communicating to them. Can we shield our twin flame or our twin flame union that has not come into union and met us yet? Yes, absolutely. Send love light shielding to that sacred union every day. Send it like waves. Like you're birthing out from your womb this creational energy, and it comes out and it births out, kind of like, say, when the mother water breaks and it goes, and it comes out, and this birthing creational energy within you will be the shielding for your sacred union in the future. Very important, for sure. So what does it feel like when you come into union with your other half? So it depends on what level of vibration each one is at. Are you both asleep, or is one asleep in one another? So it depends on that, how they will know if they've come into that union. But the way it feels initially, when you look into each other's eyes, you feel complete, and you feel whole, and you feel at home, comfortable. Perhaps, you can fart in front of them. Perhaps you can, I don't know, burp, whatever. You can do these things that normally you couldn't do. You're comfortable with them. You don't feel like you're being judged. That can happen though, sometimes you'll feel, but remember, you're there to grow one another. You'll teach them a lesson, they'll teach you a lesson, and then you rise. You'll teach them a lesson, so on, and then you rise. So it's a constant ascending of consciousness together. When one twin flame rises, the other one must, or they become very agitated, aggravated. So, yeah. Yeah. Okay. Can the twin flame that is in spirit world meet us in the new earth on this timeline? Yes, they can. Yeah, if that's your agreement, your soul agreement, they will be there for you, waiting for you. Okay, last question. Is it a lot to do with being the most authentic version of ourselves with one another? Equally creating true love. I love that. Absolutely. That is being your most purest, truest self and not being afraid to show it. And it's a process, right? Because throughout all your life, you've been told, no, you can't do that. No, you're wrong with that. You people have been trying to tell you what to do all your life. And there was this beautiful quote that I recently shared on all my platforms. And it is, let's see. Live with no approval required. To do so is to live without expectations, limitations, and oppression. It is to live with a free flowing expansion of expression of one's organic purity. No approval needed. Beautiful. Thank you. It's been such an honor to be here with you. Hope to see you through courses, workshops. Again, the Isis Priestess course, the Akashic course does begin. Opening enrollment, Patreon, Rising Phoenix Mystery School, May 1st. Love to see you there where these courses are. Specifically, the Isis Priestess course is to develop your own abilities, your 12 DNA strands, crystallize them, come into your full embodiments of organic self, activating and wielding your abilities. And then the Akashic reading is about you regaining the memory of yourself, because you learn how to, just like you learn how to do readings for others, traveling the Galactic Akashic, you also learn how to read yourself and remember yourself. And the more that you recall and you bring these pieces back, you become more and more whole, similar to the twin flame union. Thank you all. I love you all with all that I am. Spread these videos as far as you can, share them, subscribe, hit the bell button. Thank you. Make sure you hit like, because that's part of the numbers to get more views. We want to spread this. I honor you, thank you, love you, and respect you. I will see you next time. Have a most glorious weekend. Bye, my loves.